Hi everybody. Today's walkthrough is going to focus on installing Lackner's InheriTax software for Windows. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I've started out with a blank Windows 10 machine. There's only one thing that I installed on that ahead of time, and that would be PDF Factory Pro. And that's the PDF printer driver that we use and that we recommend that everyone install along with their InheriTax or 6-in-1 software. So that's been set up ahead of time. Other than that, this is a brand spanking new Windows machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse to our website, lacknergroup.com, and I'm going to look for the downloads section as soon as that loads. There we go. And then I'm going to scroll down to InheriTax, and that's where I'll find the current download version, which happens to be 2021-265. That was published about a week ago. Now, this, by the way, is the same download that you're going to use for updates in the future. So in the future, there'll be a newer version, and you'll download right from here. And the download actually functions for new installations as well as updating installations. So I'm downloading it. And of course, Windows Defender decided they're going to save the day and block it because they think we're malware. So since this is Edge and they're so integrated, we're seeing it here. I'm going to right click on it and say keep it, and then they're going to prompt me again and say, are you sure? Yes, please keep it. Then I'm going to go ahead and close the browser, and I'm going to navigate to my downloads folder. That's where I should find that. Sure enough. And before we get started, sometimes you're going to find that Windows has blocked the file on the download, and that's another similar feature of protecting what it thinks is malware. This is actually not. I'm going to not unblock this for the moment so that you can see what happens. If I run this as administrator, we're going to get this Windows protected your PC, and you can just say run anyway. However, if you unblock it, you'll notice that it works. However, I'm being prompted for a password, and that's because this user does not have local administrative privileges. Fortunately, I have my IT staff right on hand, and they're more than happy to install, or shall I say type in the password. Great. So now the InheriTax wizard has started, and the password here is PAITAX. I'm going to say next. And here's starting a new installation. And I'm going to walk through the wizard here, accept the terms, and just keep this on anyone who uses this computers. It actually gives you the same, it ends up resulting in the same configuration just because of how this installer was configured. So just keep it here. And you'll see that it's going to be installing it in the Documents folder under a subfolder called Lackner Software and InheriTax. And it's not a modifiable path. That's why I said, and that's why I suggested before that just leave it on the installation for all users. And I'm going to go ahead and finish and launch the program. Great. Now you're going to get this Defender prompt again. We're going to check this off and say allow access so we don't see anything like that again. I'm going to press OK. And what you're going to see is that InheriTax has brought you to the correspondence screen because you need to fill that out. That's the first thing that you need to do. So I'm going to just throw some quick and easy data for the purposes of the demo. Throw an email address in there. And then I'm going to put my customer ID. Oops. And guess what? My caps lock isn't on. So I'm going to stick that on and say, there we go. Now from here, I want to enter my license key, but I am going to take a little sidestep. And I want to go back to the main menu and go to Options. And I'm going to change my zoom here so that I don't have to scroll anymore. So I'm going to change it from the default 200 down to 150. And then I'm going to say main menu. Now, you're going to notice that we have red lettering here, enter license key, and a little link, click here to enter a new license key. So we can just continue from here. We could have also gone from the correspondence, and let's go take a look at that real quick so that you can see. Here, enter license key, it's the same deal. So I will go ahead and just do it from here. I'm going to press enter new key. And you'll see that step 1 is done for us because we already entered in our customer ID, ABCD here. So I'm going to move on to step 2, and that's where we have to look up our license key. Now, if somebody happened to email you the license key, you could go to that email and select the license key and copy it and then bring it here to step 3. But if you don't have it, we can look it up for you right here. And what this button is going to do is it's going to launch a web browser from which you can copy that value. I'm going to press OK. And here's my license key. Actually, I can just press this copy button, and that copies it to my clipboard. And actually, I should pull that back up and show you that it has our customer ID here, and it shows the expiration date. Now, I can click in here and press Control V and paste, or I can just press this paste copied value button. I'm going to do that because it's easier, and because it automatically validates it, and sure enough, you see my expiration date showing up here. Now, if for some reason you put a bunch of bad values in here, you're going to see that it's not going to validate. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in my other value. We're good to go. I'm going to confirm my new license key. And voila, here we go. Now there's one more thing that we should do before we're ready to jump into InheriTax. And I'm going to go back to options, to correspondence, and I'm going to press this printer setup button. And this is why I had PDF Factory Pro installed ahead of time, because we want to go ahead and set that as our default printer. And the reason why is because all of your output of all of your forms are going to be put together in one file where you can move them around, remove or edit them as you want, and then save them as PDFs or send them as emails. Now I'm going to go back and go to my main menu. Now, at any time, if you wanted to jump back into that license key screen, you could just click on here. It's going to bring you in, and you'll see that familiar screen. But we're all set. And that concludes this demonstration of installing InheriTax for the first time on a new machine. Feel free to give us a shout at our email address, support@lacknergroup.com, if there's anything we can do. And I hope you found this helpful.